Hi y'all, it's Joe with the Cockeyed Homestead. There's always something going on in my kitchen. For those of y'all that think that I really don't do much around the homestead, you got another thing coming. As usual, there's always 4 or 5 things going on at in the kitchen at one time. I've got the meatballs mixed and ready to go in the oven. I'm making peach salsa, and I'm making Thai sweet and hot or sweet and spicy chili sauce to go over the meatballs. Like I said, there's always something going on, and while I'm at it, I might as well make a big batch, put some up for later. You know, I'm the big one for cook once, eat several times, and that's just what I'm gonna do today. In this bowl, I've got about 2 pounds of ground beef, 3/4 of a bell pepper, a big onion, garlic, seasonings, egg, and I've got my handy dandy scoop here to make making meatballs easier. Now, I don't make little meatballs, I make big ones. First up is the peach salsa. I've got about 6 cups of diced peaches, and it's all going in the bowl here. I've got 1 red onion that I've diced fairly fine. It's about 2 cups worth. And I'm going to put that in my bowl. And then I've got some jalapeno. I think I put two jalapenos in here. Orange bell pepper and a little bit of red bell pepper. Came out to about 1.5 cups of my peppers. And that all goes in the bowl. And like salsa, you just stir it up and let the juices marry. Oh, I forgot. We're going to need a little bit of salt for this. Salt just brings out the natural sweetness of the peppers and the peaches. Now I'm going to can 2 pint jars, and the rest we'll have for supper with our meatballs. Mel loves peach salsa. She's never had mine, but she's in for a treat. Also we're going to juice 1 whole lime and zest it and put it in our bowl. And then we're just going to set it aside, the portion we want for supper, and let it marry and get happy for a couple of hours. I do have some cilantro, about 2 good handfuls to put in here. True confession time. I forgot the cilantro in the garden, so I had to go out and grab me a handful of it, which I did. The stems and all don't go to compost now. They're extra greens for our bunnies. Now Mel was nice enough to zest the lime, and I squeezed the lemon juice. And we're just going to stir this all together and let it get happy. I had a funny thing happen to me when I was peeling peaches. Or should I say, try to peel peaches. I had these gorgeous peaches from down the road. And I mean, they were bigger than my fist. And they looked good. They weren't quite ripe yet, so they were still a little bit hard. It's been my experience with peaches that, you know, you put an X on the end and you put them in boiling water, and, you know, eventually the skin will peel. Well, these peaches didn't do that. These peaches actually cooked all the way with skin intact. And I couldn't even peel it afterwards. Now these jars I'm going to pack, leaving a 1-inch headspace, because these peaches, although some are cooked and some are raw, they still have a lot of the juice in them. Now that's too much in there. And yes, my hands are clean. Goodness. You know, you're the saying, your eyes bigger than your stomach. Well, in this case, my scoop was bigger than my jar. Now, I use whatever I have handy. In this case, this is peach juice. And what I had handy was a clean half-gallon milk jug. I'm just adding a drop or two to top it off. And I've got probably another pint jar of peach salsa here. But I'm not going to can that up. I'll serve it with dinner and we'll eat it later. Now, always clean all the goobers off the lid, off the rim of your jars. And I use vinegar as my fluid of choice for wetting my paper towel. To me, it's just that much better. Okay. Hot lid. Screw it down. Now, we don't have acres and acres of land to harvest produce. So we do it a little at a time. Like most backyard gardeners, this is my first year up here gardening and battling the chickens and all. It just did not produce that well. So I find myself going to my neighbors who has acres upon acres and purchasing from him because I believe in local. But when you do small amounts of canning, heating up the kitchen with a big canner just doesn't make sense. This is a regular stock pot. I've got one of Mel's beautiful crocheted dish towels in here, washcloths in here to pad the bottom. And I'm just going to set these jars in the center. The water comes up over the cap of the canning jar. And then remember, it's only 3-pint jars. And I'm going to process this when it comes back to a boil for 15 minutes. Well, while that was coming up to a boil, I went ahead and made my meatballs. As you can see, they're pretty good size. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mel and I can eat probably 2 meatballs apiece. So this is enough for 5 meals. I'm going to pop this into a 350, 400 degree oven and let them brown off. My water's come up to a boil in my pot, so I know that's going. I've got 3 cups of vinegar. Now I'm getting, ooh, that pot got hot. I had garlic that was going bad, so I needed to do something with it. When you're preparing and you've got a homestead, you're constantly going through your stock, and when something starts to get old, you use it, and if you can't use it, you turn it into something that you can use later on. And with the garlic going bad, I thought, why not? I'll make my Thai chili sauce, pour it over the meatballs, and that would be dinner. Now, it's half and half, or 50-50. 3 cups of vinegar to 3 cups of sugar. No, this is not a diabetic friendly recipe. Okay. I've got a cup, I have a 1/4 cup of red pepper flake and a 1/4 cup of minced garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this because it'll bring out the natural sweetness. I am only heating this up to dissolve the sugar. I should mention that this is more of a red chili, a sweet and spicy dipping sauce. For a thicker sauce like I'm going to do for dinner tonight, I'll add a little bit of cornstarch to it. But as you can see, the peppers float up to the top, but it will infuse over a week, or however long it takes for you to open another jar. I'd planned to do this video yesterday, but it was raining outside. So we had a German Shepherd, a Pit Bull, a Terrier, all running around under my feet, and I could barely walk, let alone videotape this. Okay, I ended up with 4 jars to can, and about another jar for the dipping sauce for later for the meatballs when they come out of the oven. My timer has gone off, so the peach salsa is ready to come out. I do have a double layer of dishcloth handy. I tilt it to one side to drain the water off the top. But it just doesn't make sense to put water in a big old canning pot when you're just canning 3 or 4 jars. So that's why I do it this way. Okay. I'm gonna wipe the edge. But you look at having a year's worth of stores or supplies until the next canning season, and doing it little by little like this may seem like a lot of work, but it gets done one jar at a time. Ooh, that's hot. But I got tired of waiting on it. Just because you don't see me canning something doesn't mean I'm not doing it. It's just that there's 50 million other videos on how to do it out there, and I just don't feel like repeating it. I mean, once you can one thing, you, like meats, you know how to can the rest of it. All meats are basically the same in the pressure canner. I just try to bring you new and interesting things. Okay, hand tight, or in my case, armpit tight on the lids. Whew, they be warm. Okay, I've added my cornstarch to my little bit of leftover sauce for the meatballs, and I'm gonna let that go ahead and cook. My timer has gone off, so these have been boiling for 15 minutes. It's time to come out and greet the world. My sweet and spicy chili sauce, or dipping sauce. Now, I didn't want to really cook this. I just heated it up enough to where my jars would seal. I got 4 half-pint jars and 2 cups for the meatballs out of this one recipe. Now I'm going to turn that heat off. Ooh, pop pretty. Keep popping. My salsa is all different colors. When I went to the store, I forgot to get buttermilk. So I added some vinegar to whole milk and made myself some clabbered milk. Mix it in with my eggs. And in case you didn't guess, we're going to fry up some okra now. But I've got my milk and egg mixture. I've got a quarter cup of cornmeal, quarter cup of flour, some seasoning salt, and some black pepper. We're going to dip the okra into the egg mix, then dredge it in flour. And I think I'm just going to do a single coat today. If I was really frisky, I'd do a double coat. But okay, I pulled my meatballs from the oven. I poured my thickened sauce over it. Now let's see if I can pick it up to show the camera. But there it is. That's part of supper, and actually that's part of 5 suppers. Okay, that pot's still hot with water. I've got my okra soaking in my homemade baking buttermilk, and getting ready to fry up my okra. I have the worst time striking matches and lighting this stove. Here. We're just going to heat up the oil. While the oil's heating, I'm going to bread my okra. I've got my seasoning, salt, my cornmeal, my flour all in there. And I'm using the tools God gave me. Just going to sprinkle these in here. Shake them up in the bag. Now, this okra, I mean, there's 3 cups of it. There's no way 2 of us are going to eat 3 cups of fried okra. So, I'm going to bread it all, take half, and put it on a parchment-lined baking sheet, and spread it out, and freeze it on the sheet. Once it's frozen, I'll put it in a gallon bag, and little by little, I'll have several gallon bags full of fried okra in my freezer, ready to go whenever I want it later on. And that's the beauty of doing this little by little. Because I'm not looking at having a bushel of okra where I have to process it all at one time. I can do it like this, where I'm cooking some for a meal and putting a little bit aside for later. Now, the leftover milk and egg we're going to give to one of our cats that's a little poor right now. He's not doing so well, and we don't really expect him to last much longer, but as with anything in life, you do what you can with what you got, and that's all you can do. And it sounds cruel and heartless, and I'm anything but I tend to be a realist where life is concerned. I try to stay upbeat as much as possible. But, you know, life on the homestead is rough. You have life, you have death, like our little chick. My grease is hot. My okra is coated. And I'm just going to break it apart with God-given tools, you know. 4 fingers and a thumb, and thank God that He gave them to me and they work. May not work as well as having 2, but you'd be surprised what you could do with one hand when you had to. When my husband was dying, everybody was going, "You're taking care of your husband, but you've had a stroke. How do you do everything?" Well, it's kind of surprising how well you do when you have no choice. Sure, we had hospice coming into the house to do the bathing and the bed changes and stuff like that, but they only came in 3 times a week. Guess who took care of him the rest of the time? If he fell on the floor and I had to be picked up, toward the end when he had to have diaper changes, yep, You guessed it, it was yours truly. Now you may notice I'm adding this slow to the fryer and the frying oil, and I'm doing that on purpose, part because I really don't have a choice but to do something slow, but I'm trying not to let the oil cool down too much with the addition of the okra.
I'm gonna get dressed.
Well, you go right ahead and get dressed, Mel. It's only 3:30 in the afternoon.
I'm working though.
Yeah, you kind of love a job that you can be in your PJs and wellies. Not bad. I got a mess of fried okra for supper.
Mm-mm.
Yum, yum. Mm. Hot but good. We got 5 meals worth of meatballs with the chili and garlic sauce over the top. And then now all I have to do is make a starch of some kind besides a fried okra. I'm thinking, no, wait a minute, I don't even have to do that. I've got rice and breadcrumbs in the meatballs. Yay! We got a complete meal going on. I'll bring you back at the table. And we're at the dinner table again. After a very adventuresome afternoon.
You sure I'm not gonna find it in here?
I'm positive you found it already. I've worn my wedding rings since my 20th anniversary to my husband. I haven't taken them off, even with my stroke and everything else. They've firmly been on my fingers. Even though he's been dead a year, I still can't take them off. Well, as I was cleaning up, I realized my engagement ring was gone.
She's trying to kill me, that's all.
So Mel says, when was the last time you saw it? And I says, I don't know. And I'm about ready to cry. And so Mel, we search all over the place. We can't find it. I'm thinking it's either in the garbage. Mel's gone through the compost bucket and everything else. I'm searching through the garbage.
And I have this brilliant idea to start going over the footage that she shot. And I found where it was there, and then it wasn't. It was fried in the okra. Woman.
Deep fried engagement.
There you go.
Only on the cockeyed homestead.
Honestly, she's trying to kill me, I'm telling you.
No, I'm just trying to break all the teeth out of your mouth.
Yeah, there you go.
Because we've been munching on this okra ever since it was fried. Just going in, grabbing a couple pieces. This is the reason why I made so much to begin with.
Because I can't stay out of it. I used to take fried okra into the movie theater. Every winter, I'd get my coat, and there used to be a place called Po' Boys.
Great food.
It was wonderful. And they did fried okra, and I love fried okra. Well, I'd go over, get an order of it, put it in my coat, and go to the movies. It's better than popcorn anyway.
It's even healthy, even though it's fried.
Love it.
But tonight we have meatballs with Thai sweet chili sauce.
It's on it?
Yes. It was poured on there and allowed to soak in.
And it's sweet and sour?
Well, it's got apple cider vinegar and sugar. So I guess it's sweet and sour. It's a little bit spicy with red pepper flake. Definitely garlic with about 14.
Sorry. That's what you have to deal with around here.
Yes, repeatedly. 14 cloves of garlic minced in it. You like it? Not too spicy?
Oh, good.
We got the mango salsa I made. The
Mango?
fried, yeah. No, I mean my peach salsa I made.
Sorry.
Good?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What is that in there?
Jalapeno, bell pepper, onion, lime juice, and cilantro, and peaches.
Huh.
That's it.
Really good.
Oh yeah, and a little bit of salt.
That's very good.
And we got jars of it for later.
Oh, cool. I love doing chips and peach salsa. That's good. And deviled eggs. Whose favorite is this?
I didn't even know that.
I love deviled eggs.
But anyhow, now you see what my day's been like. And it's always like this.
It's usually like this, yeah. Some days we say, forget it, we're going out.
But then we did put in that 12,000 BTU air conditioner in the living room.
Yes. That keeps cutting off.
Well,
So I have AC, but it doesn't work yet. I gotta put in a larger amp. Then the thing, all right.
we were trying to figure out what else was on that circuit. And we can't figure it out yet.
As far as I know, the front porch and the light.
There's got to be something else so that's pulling amps to keep it from tripping like it does.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'll figure it out though.
Oh, we're always good at figuring things out.
I figured out where the leak was. I have another leak. I don't know if anybody remembers me repairing the leak in my yard. Then I had another one, and the plumber came and did it. I can't seem to get a hold of my plumber, and I love him. So I've got to fix another leak. So I'm thinking, the heck with this,
We're gonna run a whole new
and
pipe.
just run brand new pipe, because obviously they've been fixing it, and they don't have it down but like 6 inches. It should be down a foot.
Yeah. Have to rent a ditch witch and
Yeah, a little
put
trencher.
it down a foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but putting all new pipe in would be a good thing.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
No.
So it's just, one more thing. Oh.
Well, we'd have to run water to the tiny houses anyhow.
Yeah. I'll
So-
get off of that.
Getting water into the main house
That's
is
number
essential.
one. That was good. I like that.
But I cleaned out the refrigerator again.
It worked.
Yep. We had leftover rice, so I put it in the meatballs. There was part of a red pepper that I didn't use in the salsa, so I put it in the meatballs.
Oh, good.
I got the okra real small, so it didn't have the huge seeds in it. I like small vegetables.
What you might want to do is I'm a salt person. I sweat so much. Is add a little salt.
I should have salted it after I fried it, but I didn't. And I've got the okra that's in the freezer now to put in the bags for later.
Yeah. So that.
And little by little, we'll end up with several gallons of fried okra by the time the season's over.
That'll be good.
But by working in small batches, you don't get tired of processing it. Who is beeping their horn?
It's our neighbor. Shut up, Kirby.
An eighth of a mile up the road, and he's beeping his horn.
Somebody inside. That or he's letting the baby. They have a 3-year-old, and the daddy lets it play on the horn. It drives my dog crazy. Shush. Herb.
It's not somebody out front beeping at us.
Nope.
Sure sounds like it.
It's not.
Oh well. We're old fashioned. We don't go running at the beeping horns. Except Mel here. Mel does it because when I beep the horn, mostly I need help.
That's true. Well, I know the sound of your horn. That's not it.
Nope. That's tiny. But this has been Joe.
And Mel. With the Cockeyed Homestead.
Go for it.
Y'all have a blessed day.
We're gonna eat.